So this game specifically, because yesterday I accidentally did another platinum player, um, and problem, I'm not sure who to follow in this game. We're going to follow Gumby. So whenever you send me a replay, and there's the how to submit a replay on my YouTube, www.youtube.com/MrLlamaSC. If you go there, you can, and I think I have a little like thing down the bottom right corner that says that. If you go to that site, whatever, to my YouTube, you'll find a video how to submit a replay. Please put your name with it, because a lot of times the name doesn't match either one in the replay, and then I don't know what to do. So I'm going to follow ML Gumby in this game, and yeah, that's just going to be how it's going to be. And I guess I'll give notes for the red one too if I see them. But yes, this is Plat Tuesdays. So Plat Tuesdays are taking platinum players and improving their game, giving them goals. What can they do to suddenly start winning those games, right? So as we saw in the last game with Creamy Pete, this is part 2, by the way, everybody, of this, because I'm going to be splitting it up into parts on my YouTube channel, since people were saying, hey, it's getting a little long when you just have it in one giant hour-long video. So it's split up into parts now. But yeah, so if you're in Platinum League, like Creamy Pete right there, and you're like, why am I losing? You know, usually I win with that 2 racks push, and now all of a sudden I'm playing a little bit better players. I'm playing maybe a diamond player, I'm playing better platinum players, and I'm losing despite having, doing that 2 racks. Why am I not winning anymore with that 2 racks? Well, the point is that 2 racks isn't designed to win. That 2 racks is designed to do enough damage to let you get an expansion and hopefully get ahead, because he underprepares for the 2 racks on its way, right? So that's just going to be pretty simple. Something right here to note, ML Gumby, get on your gas, my friend. And that little gas right there, that little extra gas miss, is going to hurt a little bit. So mirror matchups I have to deal with a little bit differently. This isn't the real Liquid TLO, by the way, everybody. In case you were like, what? He's playing Liquid TLO? No, this is a faker. This is a gold game, and so when going back to gold, because as I said before, I switched up yesterday accidentally and did a platinum player yesterday, so I'm making up for it. Things that I want to kind of start noticing is gas timings in gold. I feel like gas timings are big. Of course, you want to maintain making workers right here, so don't cut your probes, You don't have enough probes yet, so you want to be building probes. You want to be building your probes still. Lots of money, no probes being built. And nope, are you going for a 4 gate? You got a 3 gate. And now you're starting your probes again. So, and there you go. Okay, so gas timings are important, simply because they shift how this game is going to be. So I want you to also have kind of a goal here in PvP. Yes, you know what? He stole your gas right here. I would like that if you were in there scouting around his base more, I'd say, but you know what? I said Gold League, don't scout as much. I said save that a little bit more for Platinum League. So I'm not going to be upset with you at all for that right there. So you're going for a 3 gate, it looks like. Your supply block, though, and your worker count is decent. But it could have been faster, it could have been higher, yada yada yada. So going to be taking that second gas. And now you're on these 3 gates, but we haven't really done anything with the additional gates. There we go. Now we're just going to go ahead and start, and we're going to go for some early stalker pressure. I'd imagine you're taking this into a blink stalker route or a 4 gate. That's extremely late. See, this is very curious, because you're going 4 gates right here off of this one base, yet you're not going for a 4 gate. So you're going for a 4 gate blink stalker. So this is very all in. Right here we can already say this is all in, and it's a late all in, right? So I mean, you've cut your workers, right? Yep, you've stopped at 22. You've thrown down the 4 gates, you've thrown down the Twilight Council. You're gonna have to wait till you get blink. maybe trying to fake your opponent out, make them think you have an expansion up, something like that. But this is extremely all-in right here, and I would definitely recommend possibly looking to try and expand off of this or something like that. You can probably safely expand off a 3-gate, especially once you get past the 4-gate timing. You could probably take an expansion. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. In Gold League especially, I mean, you could probably take a 1-gate expansion in Gold League if you really wanted, but PvP is one of those tough, strange matchups because players don't understand when to expand. And I get that. I definitely get that. It's one of those, it is a tough matchup. And there you go. Now you're going to take an expansion off of the 4-gate blink, but the problem is now it's very confusing because you go for a 4-gate blink stalker, right? And you cut probes, all this stuff, and you don't do anything with it to be offensive, right? So there's no real reason behind this build like this. This right here was looking very all-in-ish. I got 4 gates, I got blink coming, I have this forward pylon, I'm going to go push all in and go for the money. You know, I'm going to go for that big win. And then you don't, and you had this cut in probes, and you didn't put any pressure, and so you let him sneak ahead in probes. He could have if he wanted to, at least he didn't. But assuming, you know, he could have taken expansion. You didn't scout up there for an expansion. I was watching that probe. So he could have taken expansion. He could have a full base up and running now. He could have, I mean, there's so many options as to what he could have, and you can't be sure, yet you have this really aggressive force. It reminds me a lot of in ZVZ, when I'm playing sometimes, and the biggest thing that I kind of teach when I'm playing with a student and I'm trying to show them ZVZ, because it's such a tough matchup, it really is. And that is not something you want to engage into. Blink, 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 blink. Alright, you gotta blink out of there fast, especially when you see 2 immortals. That says, I need to get out. And continuing to try 3 immortals now. Continuing to sit over here. You know, maybe go blink forward and pick off a couple of those Phoenix or something. But be careful. That's not an army to engage into at all. And how is your response? Not making anything out of that. Okay, so I'm going to start giving you some clear set goals right here. Number 1, learn a build order in PvP that allows for expanding. It can probably be off of 3 gates, 3-gate robo even. You could go for a 3-gate robo. Or there's even a 2-gate where you go gateway, and then right when the 2nd gateway comes down, you can get 3 stalkers out. And that can be really good for scouting across the map, kind of seeing what your opponent's doing, and then you can actually expand off of that if you want to. But understand basics of, if I throw all of this infrastructure down right here, if I throw all these gates down and this blink down, by not, and then cutting probes and such, by throwing down a nexus, I am suddenly defeating the purpose of having all of these, and these gateways could be much later, because you never once used all 4 of these gateways. I mean, I straight up watched it happen. You would use 2 gates here, you drop 2 or 3 more stalkers over here. There was never a point where you were able to, because hey, you were expanding, you were reprobing all of a sudden, and it just kind of left this weird state of like, well, why does he have 4-gate robo blink, right? Or you got the robo later, I guess, after you took the expansion, but why does he have 4-gate blink? That's going to be so strong, your opponent's not going to have a stronger army than that. This is not necessary for defense, this is necessary for offense. I don't think I ever went back into my ZVZ example, so I'm going to drop right back into it. In ZVZ, if you build units and you are not aggressive with those units, you are going to lose the game. So if I'm sitting there, oops, I'm going to go like this. If I'm sitting there and I make 20 lings because he pushes out with 8 lings, and I make 20 lings at my base, I overreact a little bit, whatever, I'm getting happy spamming larva, whatever it is, I make 20 lings. Now I have 20 lings sitting, so he comes in and he sees my lings and he backs his up and runs his home. If I don't chase him home, that dude is going to sit at home and use that next wave of larva for drones. And all of a sudden I'm behind because he got a wave of drones in and I have a wave of silly lings in. Now, change that up for a second. And here's the cute plays that aren't going to win you the game. Change that up for a second. If I'm... that's not good. If... blah, blah, blah. If I send those 20 lings over to his base, well, guess what? Guess what he has to all of a sudden do now? Well, now all of a sudden he has to... That's going to hurt. Now all of a sudden he has to make a decision right here. Do I try and drone and hold with my 8 lings? If he tries to, there's a good chance he could lose. I could be sending more. Or does he make drones and lings? And he's usually going to make the lings, send those lings back, and that's going to put him in trouble. And now you are streaming your units one by one straight into an army that you will never ever want to engage. And that was a very painful attack to watch. Okay, so goal number 1. Do not go for an all-in build if you are not going all-in. Goal number 2 for you is going to be your engagements. And I normally don't make it about engagements at this point, but your engagements have been extremely rough, and that's why I want to make it about engagements. You have to worry a little bit about your units at this level. If you're bronze or silver, I would say don't worry one bit. It's all about making mass units and sending mass units over. But here, you saw he had 3 immortals. You know he's probably cranking out a few more, and yet you pushed over when you had about 2 immortals and still a stalker and sentry. You knew this army was never going to win against his army whatsoever. Your best bet was probably to throw down a robotics bay, get out 3 Colossus, and then you could start pushing over and working to win with the Colossus against his army right here. But you didn't, and so that puts you in this position where you just couldn't really win. And number 3 I want to say is find a way to expand in this matchup that isn't behind such an all-in. If you have your probe out here, you know, watching there, you scout in your opponent's base, whatever it is, you don't see him 4-gating you, you can leave that probe in there a little longer. You know what? Do like a 3-gate expand. You can even go like 3-gate blink expand. I believe that's a viable option. There's just a lot more options you have right there. And also, when you're sitting now on these 2 bases, look at all, you have 43 probes, right? To the 30 probes of your opponent. This should put you in such a great position. But you have so much money sitting over here. Throw down more gateways. You could throw down 6 more gateways right now if you wanted to, and be on freaking 10 gates. I wouldn't care right now. You throw down 6 more, you'd be at, what, 1900 minerals, and you could just go wave of units, chrono boost them all. Wave of units, chrono boost them all. And you know what? You're being decent on your chrono boost. You don't have energy saved up. I mean, you do, but you don't. It's not sitting at 100 for a crazy amount of time. So think of that stuff. So we're just going to really quickly go through the goals once again, and then we'll leave. Goal number 1. Don't go with an all-in build if you're not going all-in. If you're going to be planning to expand, do that. If you go for this like this, and you want to all of a sudden go for pressure, you know what? You better go put some pressure on your opponent. And fast. You don't want to wait too long if you're doing this. You waited a long time before you actually sent anything over, and then you already had a few mortals out. Number 2, engagements for you are going to be key. If you see a lot of immortals and you have blink stalkers, guess what? Blink stalkers are going to get murdered by immortals. You better back up and you better change your game around and figure out what you're going to do differently. Are you going to get Phoenix out to lift him off? Probably not, because he had Phoenix. But you could get Colossus out. Colossus would be a decent unit to have in that composition. Maybe you could go for a charge lot Archon, something like that. Because, hey, Archons are amazing against immortals because they're not armored. I don't know if you knew that. Smart thing to know. And number 3, taking an expansion at some decent time right there, and continuing your probe production a little bit more. So those are the 3 things that I really want you to worry about, and that's going to be it for ML Gumby right here. I hope I followed the right player. Once again, please send your name if you submit something from my channel, MrLlamaSC on YouTube. There's a little video of how to submit a replay, and I'll see you guys over in part 3, I believe. We're going to check. Somebody was supposed to be sending me a replay, so should be able to see you in part